Please refrain from negative comments, downvoting, and disliking. If you feel compelled to do this, it means you're watching a video that is not meant for you. Please move on and have respect for the time and energy it took to make this video. You can argue, disagree, and reject some of the theories. That's okay, but it won't change the lies that govern your life. You don't have the luxury of disbelief anymore, as your current reality is literally made of evidence of these lies, and it's time you transform your doubt into comforting acceptance. The human mind is so conflicted that I can't even talk openly about most of the truths without many getting outraged here. I need to use disclaimers and self-censorship because it is easier to lie to humans than to convince them they have been lied to. From my observations, it seems that the biggest problem is low intelligence and lack of logic. Only close to 1 in 100,000 people have the IQ level necessary to understand the processes governing this reality, and that still won't grant them the ability to acknowledge the lies and accept them as true. Most humans are closed-minded with no ability to think in abstract terms and to analyze simultaneously two opposing or conflicting theories. It is because they are more emotional than rational, and this impulsive nature makes them collectively anxious, greedy, naive, ignorant, indecisive, ego-driven, and cruel. But worst of all, as a group, they're chaotic and disorganized without strong leadership. Together with the indoctrination efforts of those in power, it renders humans to be a submissive, obedient, and easy to control and distract hive mind. The medical system today is designed not to cure you of your diseases, but to prolong a permanent state of sickness, or to make sure you die fast. Yes, in the name of profit, you're being medically poisoned until your immune system gives up. Statistically speaking, conventional medicine, with its prescription drugs and medical mistakes and malpractice, is the leading cause of death in the Western world. This is because the medical giants are lying about the nature of diseases for profit, creating a whole list of fake conditions for the purpose of medicating healthy people. The truth is that these multiple conditions doctors call a disease are in reality one condition: a weakened immune system caused by malnutrition and lifestyle toxicity, manifesting through a variety of symptoms. You're being lied about constant threat from bacteria and viruses, and no one is willing to explain to you that not only microbes make up half of Earth's biomass, but that there are 10 times more bacteria in your body than there are cells. You're literally made of germs that are kept at bay by a strong immune system. As long as you take care of yourself, they will have no environment to breed. You're lied to about the curing effects of chemical compounds, while cannabis and psychedelics, the most incredible medicine known to humans, are banned. You need to spend a lot of time to find any information about the strong correlation between high sugar intake and schizophrenia, but you're told everywhere that sun exposure is harmful and that it is perfectly fine to put mercury in your teeth, the most disruptive neurotoxin known to man, only 2 inches away from your brain. Always the same story, where important scientific discoveries are ridiculed and dismissed because they don't fit the current mainstream narrative. At the same time, pseudoscientists are used as an entertaining smokescreen and distraction from important, beneficial discoveries and technologies. Throughout history, people like Thomas Edison, Albert Einstein, Bill Nye, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and other con artists have been used to promote abstract pseudoscientific misinformation, lying to millions of potentially brilliant minds and dragging them away from the experimental nature of objective research, and forcing them to regurgitate state-sponsored heresies. Anyone with a little free time on their hands can look into these theories and realize that they're propagating nothing but false assumptions founded on absurd imaginary theories, while the real scientists, like Nikola Tesla, are purposely omitted and removed from textbooks. The criminal justice system we have is a lie. Its goal is based on a false and unscientific belief that punishment stops violence, when in reality, it is the most efficient stimulant of violence and the easiest method to turn a normal person into a permanent criminal. Study after study has confirmed that as far as resocialization goes, the prison system is a failure. If it worked, we would see no criminals left in the streets. But it doesn't do anything because it has been proven experimentally that punishment works only when it is applied immediately after the crime, when the perpetrator can create a mental association between their act and the penal consequences. The truth is that we run a pseudo-legal system of inefficient persecution instead of reconditioning. If we can condition people to listen to a lying government, why can we not condition people to be loving and caring? We punish those who need our help the most, kicking them when they're down, while they're the victims of the failures of social pathology they were unwillingly subject to. All of these lies shouldn't come as a surprise given the state of our education today. The whole system is a lie and is designed to keep you uneducated for as long as possible, delivering a shamefully low-quality service to our young, knowledge-thirsty minds. Chronically underfunded and permanently neglected, it promotes the worst and most ineffective methods of acquiring mostly useless knowledge through memorizing and repetition. It is standardized and done in bulk, where people are grouped by age, the most insignificant criterion, and are educated about past, not letting you prepare for the potential future. It makes you specialized in only one thing, and its only purpose is to make you get a job. Something that can be achieved today without going through the state-sponsored indoctrination camps masquerading as teaching facilities. Top of these ancient lies, those in control recently added a few new interesting reality distortions, and one of the most pushed on the clueless society today are the lies related to the environment. Almost everything you're told about Earth's system of natural resources is an illogical fairy tale that is playing on your love and care for the fragile biosphere of the Earth. It starts from the fossil fuels lie and the outlandish claim that its source is made of decomposing dead organisms deep in the ground. I worked in the oil and gas industry for years, and I can tell you that after decades of extraction, we know now that oil is the second most abundant liquid on Earth, and its supply is limitless and renewable. Its origin has nothing to do with organic matter. Just imagine how many of these poor dinosaurs must have died, and what kind of a process turns their bones into stone and flesh into oil. This liquid is constantly produced inside Earth, and we are told nothing about this process. The theory of oil depletion was created to rig and manipulate the energy market, and oil price is in reality regulated by a giant fleet of tankers on standby around the world, expanding supply whenever necessary. The price of almost everything you buy is affected by this manipulation. For a year, I also worked for the biggest wind turbine manufacturer in the world, only to learn that wind energy is a very expensive gimmick, having nothing to do with efficient green energy. These huge turbines with their constantly malfunctioning gearboxes, regular inextinguishable fires, animal habitat disrupting low-frequency noise and vibration, and giant non-recyclable blades quickly buried underground create much more environmental problems than benefits. They are political virtue signaling monuments of fund and resource mismanagement, producing minuscule amounts of energy that still needs to be transported from destined locations. It is the same story with the eco-friendly compact fluorescent light bulbs that are so full of mercury that they need to be treated as hazardous waste and are non-recyclable. So much for being eco-friendly. Another big lie we will all soon be affected by is the myth of the electric car. What most of us don't understand is that 90% of electricity is still produced by some form of burning fossil fuels. But in this case, it needs to be additionally transported and stored, creating a need for a huge, expensive, resource-consuming infrastructure. The cars are wasting up to 20% of energy in the process compared to regular cars. The car batteries are very dangerous, fail frequently with life-threatening consequences, and need to be replaced within a few years. Minerals required to produce these batteries are responsible for a lot of environmental degradation and worker exploitation. But the green lie is well on its way, and if you try to use your logic, you'll encounter a lot of emotional resistance from the self-righteous eco-brigades. And why wouldn't they react if you're constantly told the lie of recycling that was simply designed to deflect responsibility from corporate liability of producing huge amounts of waste? Did you know that it takes more energy to recycle a glass bottle than to make one? Did you know that recycled plastic is so brittle that it has virtually no application other than being a small part of another plastic product? And that the biggest lie is the safety of plastic, where it was discovered that the breakdown process of neurologically disrupting polymers is not 300 years as initially thought, but barely 50 years or even less, and that plastic molecules are destined to eventually end up in every living organism on Earth. One of my favorite environmental lies is that of overpopulation. Did you know that you can put all humans on Earth into the state of Texas and give them 2 acres of land for every person? The real lie is not in the number of people, but in their corporation-created lifestyles. Because to sustain our current habits, we need in fact 24 acres per person. The corporate consumer system of today makes you 12 times more in need of Earth's resources, and that's the truth about overpopulation. Humans are not the problem, it's the broken system that governs them. These are not probable theories. Do you feel this sudden wave of outrage, resistance, and denial? Where did it come from? Is it because you researched these topics thoroughly, and in light of all the available evidence you came to a logical and informed conclusion that they are in stark contrast with the fabric of observable reality? Or is it possible that someone somewhere told you that it's not true and they made sure that you feel a certain way when you hear these statements? We can't possibly know if they make sense, but we can have an emotional reaction to them? How come?